Hi, my name is Beatrice Rosal, and today we're going to be explaining this myth and this myth. Probably heard that people only use 10% of their brains. According to paper data Pascu, Halio, and Vlachos 2017, brain is known in neuroscience as a classic neural myth. Neural myth is a false belief built on misunderstood or misquoted scientific facts. A study published in the Frontiers of Psychology has surveyed 500 prospective teachers in Greece. Wanted to measure how common neural myths are. What they found was that 47.4% of the participants incorrectly believed 10% of the myth. Another 26.9% claimed they did not know. Means that 1 in 4 answered correctly. People who understand neuroscience are far less likely to believe misconceptions like this one. That myths mainly survive because of limited scientific understanding. Facts are skewed in popular culture. This article explores where the myth may have originated from. Scientists think that this could have possibly come from the misunderstanding that 10% of the brain consists of neurons, whereas the other 90% consist of glial cells. Glial cells support and help neurons function properly. Neuroscience proves this myth to be false, and that we only use a small portion of our brain. Cohn 2024 from the MIT McGovern Institute for Brain Research states, the idea that we only use 10% of our brains is 100% a myth. Scientific evidence that the brain uses nearly 20% of our body's energy every single day. It only calculates for about 2% of our body's weight. No region is lasting dormant. An article from the MIT McGovern Institute for Brain Research states that explains how the brain has the ability to rewire itself, known as neuroplasticity. It means that all regions of the brain have a purpose. An example of neuroplasticity is if one hemisphere of an adult's brain is removed due to a surgery, the side of the brain that's remaining adapts and takes over lost functions. Tons of scientific evidence that prove that all parts of the brain are active, awake or asleep. If that we only use 10% of our brain is busted. It's all parts of the brain, just at different times. I often hear people say that money can't buy happiness. Scientific research proves that the truth is more complicated than that. An article published by the American Psychological Association, written by Amy Novatley, 2012, explores how wealthy people commonly face emotional challenges that money simply can't solve. Dr. Robert Kennelly, who is a developmental psychologist from Boston College, observed 165 families who are worth $25 billion. In his findings, he found that money made aspects of life easier, like security and education, but it created a different form of problems. He found that wealthy people often experience uncertainty in relationships and anxiety about their children. Many parents worried that their children would never know if they were loved for who they were or their money. Some individuals that he observed described feeling disconnected and not sure who they could trust, where others were overwhelmed with choices, leaving them feeling confused rather than free. Kenny stated, there seems to be a trend that you can't buy your way out of human condition. This means that money does not eliminate stress, it only alters it. Kennedy's findings highlight that true happiness is more dependent on purpose, balance, rather than being wealthy. One of the participants in his study mentioned that having tons of money make it harder to live a fulfilling life. This demonstrates the emotional well-being of individuals having personal connections, not just financial stability. Research from Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton 2010 at Princeton University explains that money can buy happiness, just to a certain extent. The findings of their studies found that having a higher income improves how people assess their life, but still, their daily emotional well-being often stabilizes once their basic needs are reached. By having more money does not guarantee you will have more life satisfaction. Money can bring comfort and security, but it cannot replace genuine relationships or purpose. So, the saying that money can't buy happiness is plausible, but not entirely busted. Money makes life easier. It does not guarantee happiness and prevents us from facing emotional hardships.